Understanding Management Accounting, Job Costing. This is Ken Boyd, the owner of St. Louis Test Preparation. You see our email and our phone number here, and also the source for this course, principlesofaccounting.com. Pretty good website. That's where we got some of the ideas, and in particular, Chapter 19 of that website. I want to talk about job costing and use an actual example, an old client of mine, Joe's Tree Service, a fictitious name, but it describes his business. Here's what Joe does. Joe's Tree Service trims and cuts down trees. He also clears branches, stumps, and other material. You've probably seen tree service companies around your neighborhood. So how does Joe run his business? Well, Joe advertises heavily, including in the Yellow Pages, his biggest advertising expense. Susan, his secretary, handles customer calls. So customer calls in and needs something done, let's say. Joe meets with each customer to give them an estimate. The tree service sends crews of 2 to 5 people out to perform each job. He's also got equipment. He uses trucks, ladders so he can get to taller trees, chainsaws, stump grinders to grind up stumps of trees and other material that's too big to cut with a saw. Equipment he uses in his business. Here are his expenses. He's obviously got labor, salary, and benefits to his crew members who are doing the work. He's got the expense of driving the trucks and other equipment to client locations. And he also has to maintain things. He has to maintain and repair saws, chainsaws, his equipment, his trucks, and other material. So a big repair and maintenance if you're out there doing heavy work with this material. It tends to break down, it needs to be oiled, and that kind of thing. Here's the challenge. Every job is different. There is no typical job. As a result, it's difficult to plan costs, and if costs are tough to estimate, then it's hard to price a job for a customer. Now, after a while, intuitively, the owner starts to understand what those costs will be, but they still can fluctuate. And so job costing is a tool to help identify these costs. Job costing is appropriate when goods are produced based on a specific customer order or in batches. Think about going to the sandwich shop and ordering a sandwich. Every sandwich is going to be different depending on the customer. The products are not mass produced. The same is true in a service business. Each customer order is different based on customer specifications. So that's when we use job costing. How do we do it? We calculate costs using a job cost sheet. When you're actually going to see the sheet in the management accounting video beyond this one. Each customer has a job sheet, each order. The report takes the components of all the costs to do the job, material, labor, and overhead, which we'll define in a minute. We take all those costs and assign them to the job. For example, more labor hours means more labor cost. You use more material, you incur more material costs. And as we go on, we need to define again direct and indirect costs. Costs that can be directly tied to the product or service and direct costs. Remember our example with the blue jean company. Each pair of jeans requires 2 hours of labor to cut, sew, and package the jeans. So that's directly tied to the pair of jeans. We have to pay someone salary and benefits. Material. In our blue jean example, each pair of jeans require 4 square feet of denim. We can tie that denim cost directly to the pair of jeans. But there are other more difficult costs that are harder to plan for. Indirect costs that cannot be tied directly to the product or service. Indirect costs can also be called overhead. Best examples, utility costs. Say you've got a factory. Heating that factory is more closely related to the square footage of the factory and not how much you produce. You're going to have to heat it whether you produce 0 or 1,000 pairs of jeans. Interest. Interest on a loan balance occurs with the passage of time, whether we manufacture anything or not. Every day we're incurring interest expense regardless of what happens in our business. We're going to go to Excel and show you a job costing example on our next video. That's the end of part 2. You can find part 3 on YouTube. You can go to our YouTube channel, Ken Boyd STL, all one word. If you'd like to sign up for live tutoring or a live chat session, stltest.net is our website. You'll see our email and our phone number, and we'll see you next time.